On this edition of VCU InSight, the Rams come home after their run in the NCAA tournament comes to an end.
A renowned comedian works with VCU students to help them perfect their craft.
Find out how to protect yourself from Facebook scams.
And a new film festival brings Hollywood to Richmond.
Those stories and much more. VCU InSight starts right now.
Hello and welcome to VCU InSight. I'm Melissa Smith.
And I'm Amaris Lemus. Thank you for joining us. VCU men's basketball team came close to making a second straight appearance in the NCAA Sweet 16 round. But dreams were dashed by just a 2-point margin after a narrow loss to the Indiana Hoosiers last Saturday in Portland, Oregon. Still, that didn't stop more than 100 loyal fans from gathering at the Siegel Center on Sunday evening to welcome the team home. Young and the young at heart alike showed off their pride and messages of thanks for a game well played. It's about 2 days' worth of straight driving from Portland to Richmond, but VCU alumna Betty Tudor wasn't talking about road trips when she said the Rams basketball team has come a long way since her days on campus.
2 years in a row we've gone to the NCAA. Yay! I mean, that's just so exciting. It's just been fabulous. Yeah. I just don't see it as a loss.
It was a homecoming fit for champions, despite their final loss. The Rams had a record-breaking season that included 29 wins, 14 consecutive home game sellouts, and a CAA conference title.
With close to 850 million users worldwide, Facebook still reigns as the most popular social media platform. But computer experts are warning that popular also means dangerous. InSight's Philip Newsom explains.
The social media phenomenon that is Facebook has become a breeding ground for hackers. Just by clicking a link or liking a page, your Facebook account can be hacked and controlled without you knowing.
I'm simply going to post a message on somebody, on all of my friends' wall to say, hey, check out the picture I took from last Saturday.
And clicking that link downloads dangerous software to your computer. Software that's used to steal private information such as your passwords, banking information, and even your home address. VCU students say this is the type of thing they see a lot.
You'll see your friends posting random things onto your own page and you're just like, well, they got hacked.
Experts say hackers have been especially busy feeding on the chaos that's caused by Facebook's frequent additions and updates. One of note, Timeline, a homepage design that connects everything you've ever done on Facebook. And according to FaceCrooks.com, there have been at least 16 reported scams involving Timeline, and experts say there are even more out there. In just the first 2 weeks, more than 71,000 people fell for this scam. Getting caught in this scam is actually pretty easy. If I'm tired of Timeline, I might want to remove it, and so I'll do a search for Remove Timeline. And when I do, I'll find this app that's asking for permission to liberties it definitely shouldn't have. And experts say this is all about the money.
A lot of these scams are actually backed by organized crime, and there's a black market behind this, and people actually sell you information.
Hans says the best way to avoid these scams are to constantly change your passwords and closely monitor your privacy settings. By simply keeping vigil, you can prevent yourself from becoming a victim. Reporting for VCU InSight, I'm Philip Newsom.
Facebook officials say that if you find a questionable page, to hit the Report Page button in the lower left-hand corner.
While Black History Month may be coming to a close, lots of questions about race and culture remain. The latest exhibit at the Science Museum of Virginia offers some perspective. InSight's Saida Holmes has more.
The Science Museum of Virginia is hosting Race, Are We So Different? An exhibit that explores the concept of race and its effect on society. It's a joint venture between the National Anthropological Association, the Ford Foundation, and the National Science Foundation. The exhibit shows how identifying people based on skin color has caused cultural separation and conflict, and that various theories about race help stoke some fires of prejudice. Visitors can interact at several stations to compare their own racial experiences with other people. Museum Communications and Sciences Manager Nancy Tate says the exhibit's mix of science and social issues makes it unique.
It's all really through the lens of science, and to me that has opened up a lot of different ways to look at it in ways that we might not have thought of otherwise.
Photographs and videos feature medical trends and political stats that detail how attitudes about race end up affecting everyone.
Exhibits such as this one help children develop positive attitudes about race by depicting people of different complexions as successful members of society.
VCU Department of Educational Leadership professor Cheryl Shakeshaft visited the museum with a group of doctoral education students and says that the exhibit is a great way for people of all races to feel connected to each other.
I think that would help us to understand better that there isn't an us and them, there's us. There's all of us.
With an exhibit that explores ways that people are more alike than different, appreciation of cultural diversity can remain in the Richmond area. For VCU InSight, I'm Saida Holmes.
The exhibit, Race, Are We So Different?, runs at the Science Museum of Virginia until April 29th. In celebration of Black History Month, VCU Libraries welcomed advertising legend Tom Burrell to talk about his controversial book, Brainwashed, Challenging the Myth of Black Inferiority. It was a packed house on February 22nd with more than 400 students, faculty, and members of the community. Burrell is the founder of the nation's largest marketing firm owned by African Americans. In Brainwashed, Burrell says negative images and stereotypes are ingrained in the African American community, and that advertising tactics promote a false image of Black inferiority. For Ramsey Ishmael, Burrell's message is a wake-up call to all students.
It's incredibly enlightening, incredibly provocative, and is one of those speakers who I think will push students to really pursue the things that need to be done to really change the culture in our society and change the culture on campus as well.
Burrell was the guest speaker at the 10th annual Black History Month lecture at the University Commons. The library says it was one of their most successful lectures yet. We see delegates and senators in heated debate on Capitol Hill, but rarely do we see them on the basketball court. Friends and family cheered on lobbyists and legislators alike at this year's Capitol Square Classic fundraiser to benefit the Massey Cancer Center on February 28th at the Siegel Center. Donations were accepted in person and online. Massey officials say they raised around $11,000, with the lobbyists contributing almost 1/4 of the amount. Funds will go towards cancer research initiatives. House of Delegates team captain, Delegate Chris Jones, says it's not about the politics, but the spotlight is on Massey Cancer Center.
We have a lot of fun. We can laugh at each other because we all think we're better athletes than what we are. And we can just have fun, running up and down the court, camaraderie, and we raise money for a very good cause.
Participants were split into 4 teams. The governor's office beat the lobbyists, while the delegates swept the Senate in overtime with the final score of 30-24.
As part of the National Eating Disorder Week, the VCU Theater Department and Wellness Research Center put on performances showcasing the challenges college students have when it comes to healthy eating. Performers told stories of struggles with eating disorders, food, weight, and relationships. The focus of the monologues was body image and self-awareness. Many of the performers spoke about personal experience, or others of people they knew. Organizers say the event was about self-acceptance.
And to be able to talk to girls, boys at young ages about the importance of loving themselves for who they are.
The audience of about 30 learned how media play a role in these struggles. According to a study by the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders, more than 1/2 of teenage girls and nearly 1/3 of teenage boys use unhealthy weight control behaviors, such as skipping meals, vomiting, and taking laxatives. On March 31st, the streets of Richmond will again be packed with runners for the annual UCROPS Monument Avenue 10K Marathon. For one runner, making the finish line could mean money in her pocket. InSight's Ashley Fisher is in our studio with a special guest.
Today we're speaking with Melissa Phillips, one of the thousands of runners in this year's Monument Avenue 10K. Melissa has also been selected to run in Dash for the Cash during the race, where she could possibly win $2,500. Thank you for joining us, Melissa.
Thank you.
So, Can you tell me a little bit more about the Dash for the Cash portion of the race?
I was selected to get a head start on the course, and I basically have to run my portion of the course in the time that the elite athletes run the whole thing.
So how were you selected for this? Was it random or?
Everyone that registered for the race before February 1st was put into a big pot, and I was the one selected this year.
So is this your first time running in the Monument Avenue 10K?
No, this will be my 4th year running the Monument 10K.
How well did you do the last few years?
I did pretty well the last 2 years. I definitely ran it my hardest. So.
Do you run in any other types of marathons or?
This past November I did my first full marathon, the Richmond SunTrust Marathon. And besides that, I've done a lot of half marathons.
So tell me about the preparation that's going into running this marathon, because I know that there's money on the line this time, so that's the difference.
Yeah, I've had to do a pretty strict schedule of running, and I have like some days where I do hill workouts and other days where I do long runs and other days where I do like shorter distances faster. So kind of a good variation to get me as best prepared as I can be.
And what are some of your personal goals for this upcoming race?
Just to, on race day, feel like I prepared myself the best I could, and to have fun with it. I'll have a lot of family and friends supporting me that day, so I think the excitement of it will be hopefully enough to carry me through.
So I know you mentioned that you have friends and family coming to support you. Is there anyone that's going to be running in the race with you?
No, I'll be running it by myself.
Is that part of the qualifications for? Okay. Also, will you be preparing for any races in the near future?
This is the only one as of now. So.
Tell me about your background as far as running is concerned. Have you always been a runner? Or?
I did sports in high school. Track was one of them, but it wasn't my main sport. And I didn't do any sports in college, but I started to enjoy long distance running when I got to college, and that's really when it started up.
So you said it wasn't your main sport. How did you get involved in track?
I was doing a sport in the fall and the winter, and so track was in the spring, and I thought it would be a good way to stay in shape for the other sports.
And what made you transfer from being a sprinter into a long distance runner?
It was more just for recreational purposes, just to have fun, and a lot of my friends started running, and my sister started running, so it was fun to be able to do it with other people.
So while you're running, what keeps you motivated to make it to the finish line?
Like during races? During races, a lot of times it's just the crowds. Everyone's out there cheering us on and having a good time. So it's very encouraging and motivating the whole time to see so many people lining the streets.
So do you have any particular plans for this $2,500 you may possibly win?
If I win, I would like to go visit my brother. He just moved to Arizona and had a baby. So meet my nephew.
Nephew on the way, okay.
Yeah.
We've been speaking with Melissa Phillips. She'll be running in the Monument Avenue 10K Marathon next weekend with hopes of winning a cash prize. Thanks so much for joining us, Melissa.
Thank you.
A group of VCU students is celebrating after success in an international advertising competition. InSight's Ashley Chapman has the story.
A group of VCU advertising students won first place in an international competition. AT&T sponsored the competition and will be producing their work. The 4 graduate students took home a $20,000 prize for their win in the International Innovation Challenge.
This is the 4th year the VCU Brand Center has entered group projects in the competition. This year, 3 groups placed in the semifinals.
The group went up against 186 teams, including MBAs and Ivy League students from around the globe. Ryan Doling, a member of the winning group, can't give specific details about the project until AT&T finishes production. He said he and his partners developed a platform using AT&T's cloud services to better help small businesses, giving them the tools larger corporations have. Doling says he thinks the presentation was the aspect of the project that landed his group the win.
The creative execution was good, but more importantly, the strategy was there and the thinking was there and the concepting and just the general big idea was there.
Working on projects for real companies is an important aspect of the Brand Center program. Advertising professor Don Just advised the winning team. He says those real-world experiences will be invaluable to the students' success in the job market.
They get a taste of the pressure and stresses that are related to working on projects where there's an outcome that's going to mean something to someone.
Doling says these experiences are going to mean something for his growing resume as well. With one contest win under his belt, he is looking forward to new challenges.
You've created this billion-dollar brand, you've solved this problem, like you've helped out this major corporation, like what's next? And so I've sort of started like get this mindset of like you have to stay hungry.
Doling is currently working on a project for the Virginia Lottery to help target younger audiences. If his project wins, he can add one more company to his client list. I'm Ashley Chapman for VCU InSight.
The Brand Center held a ceremony to celebrate the achievement. Attendees included the president and CEO of the Greater Richmond Chamber of Commerce and the vice president and general manager for AT&T for Virginia and West Virginia.
There were lights, cameras, and action in Carytown recently for a new film festival that made its debut at Richmond's Byrd Theater. InSight's Christine Hadid takes us there.
Just in time for Oscar season, Richmonders got their own chance to walk a red carpet at the first Mix International Short Film Festival. Filmmakers from across the country and globe flew into town to show a total of 39 short films at the three-day festival, which ran from February 17th through the 19th at the Byrd.
I wanted to do a film festival that was kind of typical in the sense that we do all of the top awards and the competing, but also do one where we serve as kind of a creative platform for writers and filmmakers to come together to produce new projects.
One of those projects is a short film called Strive, which Waters Production Company filmed right here at the Byrd Park Tennis Courts back in January.
Strive is the product of Brooklyn writer Jeffrey Cranach and Los Angeles director Jonathan Schwartz. They were able to bring their vision to life after winning different categories of the Mix's Corporate Production Award. The film was made possible by the work of crew members from Los Angeles and New York, along with local crew. VCU student Carol Flory got hired as a first assistant director for Strive and says her role on set has opened doors for the future.
I have made friends and made connections with all of the crew, people from LA, people from New York, people from DC, all saying they would hire me again.
Flory may not have to look far to get hired after college. Movie Maker magazine named Richmond one of the top 10 cities in the country to live, work, and make movies in 2011.
The city itself has been fantastic. I think they are very kind to independent filmmakers here.
It's good news for local movie makers and moviegoers alike who get to have a taste of Hollywood right here in Richmond. For VCU InSight, I'm Christine Hadid.
Filmmakers from 16 different countries showed their work at the festival. Organizers say they plan to make the festival an annual event at the Byrd Theater. Students at VCU are used to seeing construction around campus, but during this year's Greek Week, it was building of another kind. During construction on February 20th, sororities and fraternities built things of their own with non-perishable canned foods outside of VCU Student Commons. This year's theme was Hollywood. The team rolled and carefully packed their cans on their structures. Each team was judged either on how many cans they collected or the creativity of their can construction.
I see that the common theme is the global ward guy, so I hope that we can just win based off the other stuff that we have. I hope it's creative and it incorporates everything instead of just the award.
Organizers say they usually donate between 1,000 and 2,000 cans to the Virginia Food Bank each year.
March Madness may be over for VCU, but there's another friendly competition that highlights the campus's green initiative. This year, it's happening with a little more style. InSight's Jaleesa House is joined in our studio with special guests.
I'm here with Steve Heinitz, recycling coordinator at VCU, and Parker Long, an assistant in VCU's Office of Sustainability. Thank you for joining us, guys.
I'm glad we could be here.
Thank you. And Steve, VCU is in its 5th year of RecycleMania. Can you tell us a little bit about the competition and what it tries to bring to VCU?
Well, RecycleMania is a nationwide competition throughout
all of the United States and even Canada. There's a couple of universities up in Canada that even participate. And the biggest part of RecycleMania to me is awareness. It puts recycling out on the forefront and just gives everybody the opportunity to look at recycling and the benefits of recycling to a university. And it gives students and faculty and staff the opportunity to give input on how we can improve our recycling program.
And what has the response been this year around campus?
Overall, it's been very positive. RecycleMania, we want to interact as much as we can with the faculty, staff, and students. And most of the feedback I have has been positive. At VCU, we've expanded our recycling program. We're always expanding as the university grows to meet up with the needs. And of course, we put some more recycling containers outside. But students are always looking for additional opportunities to recycle. So we always take that into consideration, especially during RecycleMania. We want to improve the program in as many ways as we can. So we're always looking for suggestions.
And this year you guys added the Eco Fashion Show, which will follow the end of RecycleMania. Can you tell me a little bit, Parker, about how that came along and what you guys hope to see this year?
Sure. Well, we never really had too many events to get students involved the previous years. I think we just had a waste audit to see where we can improve our recycling. But this year we partnered with the fashion department to host an eco fashion show, and we really hope this will just give students the opportunity to showcase some of their pieces and really just bring recycling and fashion to the forefront.
And what kind of things can we see at the fashion show? What kind of garments can we anticipate?
It's kind of open to everything, so we're really not sure what we're going to see, but we've said any recycled materials are, can be used. Any paper, plastic, metal, any reused cloth. So, we're hoping to see really creative submissions, and we just have to wait and see.
And RecycleMania is a competitive competition. Schools are kind of competing just to give it a little more edge.
Yeah, it's a friendly competition. I mean, we're competing with all our peer schools in Virginia and other schools around the country. So yeah, we're measured. Every week we submit, the amount of materials that we're recycling, including our paper, plastic, cardboard, all those things. And this year we've included organics because we did start a organics composting recycling over the Schaefer Court Dining Hall. So we include all those numbers, and we also include the amount of materials that we dispose that ends up going to the landfill. And then we weigh all those figures compared to the other schools around the country. So it gives us a feeling for where we're going. Are we, and compared to maybe a UVA or a JMU or William and Mary. So it's it helps. It's of course everybody is competitive, and we like to win, but at the same time it's a friendly competition, and we also can ask each other, what are you doing over at UVA that's working for you, and what we might not be doing here. So it's.
Well, we have one more week left in the competition, so good luck to VCU.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been speaking with VCU Recycling Coordinator Steve Heinitz and Parker Long, an assistant from VCU's Office of Sustainability. Thank you again for joining us, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
VCU students traveled to the Middle East earlier this month, sort of. The Student Government Association hosted its second annual Qatar Day in the Commons Plaza. Students got the chance to sample all things Arabic, with different foods and a variety of activities such as henna tattoos, photos in Qatari clothing, a fashion show, and calligraphy. Organizers hope the event helps students learn more about VCU's sister campus in Qatar, a country with a population of about 3/4 people. SGA President Asif Bafnagri says events like Qatar have an important benefit.
We're all Ram Nation, and bringing people together, making people collaborate more, networking, and I think that's important to bridge the gap between the two campuses.
SGA says about 2,000 people attended throughout the day. There have been plenty of events to help raise money for charities, but none quite as hair-raising as this one. The Follicles of the James Stash and Beard League held their first ever Mid-Atlantic Beard and Stash competition at Strange Matter in Richmond, Virginia, in the beginning of March. The competition raised $1,400 and 250 pounds of food for the Central Virginia Food Bank.
So what we decided to do is like a 70-30 split for tickets. We're taking all of our 70% and giving it right to the food drive. All of the raffle items, that's all going to the food drive. Anything, pretty much everything that we make is going to the food drive. We're not taking any money in from this.
There were 8 different categories, with the first place winner in each. The Best in Show trophy went to a guy calling himself Mr. Grizzly Stonewall Jackson. The Phonicals of the James say they plan to host an even bigger beard and mustache competition next year.
And finally tonight, it was 2 nights of comedy as the VCU Theater Department hosted a fundraiser in late February. And it was no joke that for the students on stage, the nights were about learning and laughing. InSight's Heather Rikers has more.
They're used to seeing it on Comedy Central, but now VCU theater students get their time in the spotlight. More than 400 people came out to the event filled with knee-slapping laughter that helped raise about $2,000 for the VCU Theater Department. One of those people is VCU sophomore Alicia Schultz, who says she loves to watch comedians but says she would never try it.
No. No. Too scary, too vulnerable. No. They're brave.
These brave students were taught by nationally renowned comedian and director of New York City's American Comedy Institute, Stephen Rosenfield.
Some of Stephen Rosenfield's students have appeared on shows like Last Comic Standing, Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, and David Letterman.
Freshman Danielle Williams says Rosenfield met with the students for a week in the fall and a week prior to the show. She says he helped them to write their material and taught them how to perform it.
At first, I was blown away that someone of his caliber would actually come here and want to work with us. And I just felt really humbled to have this opportunity. He's an incredible man, not just as a director and a teacher, but just as a person.
The class and the show was part of Theater VCU's spring main stage season. So the class was only open to theater majors and was not offered for a class credit. Comedian Aaron Mock says the class has given him a new perspective on stand-up comedy.
I think my favorite part is like having something that you want to share with people, an idea or a thought, and it's such a unique forum. Like there's no other intimate setting like this where you can directly share your thoughts.
And in 3 shows, these VCU theater students got to share their thoughts and make people laugh. For VCU InSight, I'm Heather Rikers.
The theater department will be hosting its next main stage performance of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee on April 6th through the 22nd.
Sounds like it was a fun event.
I wish I could have been there. Well, that's it for this edition of VCU InSight.
Make sure to check us out online at insight.vcu.edu.
Thanks for watching. I'm Amaris Lemus.
And I'm Melissa Smith. We'll see you next time.